I am sorry to the people I hurt. I am sorry to their families.
When he was 17, Joseph Eubank pleaded guilty to raping one girl and sexually abusing 3 others. A judge sentenced the 6'8" former Covington Catholic basketball player to 25 years in prison.
It was scary. It was not something anyone should have to go through.
This victim says she was 15 when Eubank assaulted her 5 years ago. We agreed to protect her identity.
Going through court hearing after court hearing after court hearing for years and having to relive it every single time is really hard.
A judge initially ordered Eubank moved to an adult prison within 5 months after he turned 18. But Eubank's family filed a lawsuit that prompted the state of Kentucky to keep him in a juvenile detention center until he turns 21. Since he turns 21 next week and is still in juvenile detention, Kentucky law allows Eubank to file this motion for probation. Kenton County Judge Mary Malloy is expected to rule on the motion next week.
It just would send a horrible message about how we treat serial rapists if he were to be let out.
Current and former juvenile detention center employees wrote letters to the judge praising Eubank's leadership and ethics while detained. Some supporters promised to hire Eubank if he's released on probation. Kenton County Commissioner John Dowd wrote this letter that focused on Eubank's character and his accomplishments while detained, including graduating from high school and getting an associate degree.
And as far as I know, Joseph has always been an exemplary kind of kid. He was an altar boy at my church.
Before Dowd agreed to have our interview recorded, he said that if he had known Eubank had pleaded guilty, he wouldn't have written the letter for him. After that, we began recording the interview with his permission.
Don't you think you should have at least known that before you wrote the letter?
Well, I don't know that he actually admitted to anything, but if you say he did, I'm not familiar with the case. I don't think anything is, by serving any time in an adult prison is going to help anyone.
Well, it might help the victims who feel like he hasn't paid enough of a price for what he did to them.
I don't know whether it helped the victims or not. That's a debatable issue.
And it shocks me that he would go to bat for a serial rapist.
The I-Team played our interview with Dowd for one of Eubank's victims, her father, and the mother of a second victim.
I just think it's unbelievable that he wrote a letter on his behalf without knowing anything about the case.
It makes me sick that an elected official would do that without the facts.
I'm disgusted by it as well, but it also scares me that I live in a community that elected somebody like that into a position of power.
According to Eubank's motion, if he's released on probation, he will live with his parents and continue treatment. He'll be a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. Craig Cheatham, WCPO 9, I-Team.